I'm in retreat planning mode, so it's like kind of coming in one ear out the other. I get back home and I have this message that, the Mamos want to connect with you for an interview. And I kind of was like, oh, this is that thing Marta was talking about. So I just hopped into the interview and literally had no idea what was happening. So I was like, I'm wicked underprepared, but I'm like, something is cool here.
I woke up in the morning and there were 3 of our eldest grandmothers. They said, hey, there's a strange man outside. And we were in the jungle in the Colombian mountains. And it was a man in full regalia, in all white, with a white hat and bags and everything. And I had never seen someone like that. So he says, I think I'm here to meet you. I've been called to you. I think you're part of a prophecy. You need to come back with me.
The Mamos have been hiding for all of this time. The reason that they're not anymore is because there is no more time to be in hiding and not say anything. Traveling around the planet even now, going to countries all around the planet, trying to tell as many people as they can. The time is now and we don't have any time left.
What does magic mean? Like, are you guys doing magic? And they're like, we don't know what magic is. What are you talking about? It's like, no, this thing you're doing. They're like, what? Like, oh, you know how you're talking about like telepathy and they're like, what is that? I said, well, when you do this and this, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's normal for us. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's normal for you.
Welcome everybody to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. Today is a very special day because I have my new friends Diam and Kelsey here with us. Thank you for joining me. And the reason this is really amazing is, over the last few months, anytime I, have a retreat and we activate all this heart energy, for some reason, the energy of the Mamos has been following me around. It started with the Mamos wanting to connect with me. And then last time I came to Sedona, my buddy Rick met Diam and Kelsey and he was like, everything you've been saying about the Mamos, you have to connect with these two. They have a really special relationship with the Mamos. And so I don't dive in, I don't do too much investigating because I want to learn, about who you are live. And so I'm really excited to connect with you both. Let's go. Let's go. So welcome.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah, so I guess we could start with how did you get connected with the Mamos and the whole, culture over there?
Okay, yeah. For me, that's a little bit of a loaded question because it's been like a long journey that I started back when I was 20 or so, maybe 19. But to keep it short, I was adopted by an indigenous tribe. And back when I was younger, I pledged myself to this idea and concept of learning something outside of entrepreneurism and lifestyle as business and everything. And I joined a Native American tribe and I had to go through a whole process for a year of adoption and to see if I could even, mesh with the vibe and learn the things about how the cosmology actually functions on their side compared to our science and stuff. So I did that for about 5 years. And at the end, the eldest elder that I was learning from passed away. And he was the one like bridging back to all of this amazing knowledge. He was able to inherit the leader or head guide, the chief, let's say, man or woman of medicine, tradition, and the word. Those are the 3 paths that you start on as an indigenous being. Those are the 3 parts of reality, right? So he was forced to receive the data from each one of these indigenous chiefs that was the last holder of this true knowledge base. He was the last one capable of receiving that. And so he got all 3. It was at the time in French-Canadian history where the Rocky Mountain Police were going and burning teepees and doing all the things. So their tribe was on the downfall of unity. And anyways, he ended up having so much knowledge. He also became a doctor in the Western schools, became a lawyer. And he was the head of this tribe that was displaced from Canada. And learning from him, all of a sudden he passed away after 5 years of being all together. They said, we should go to Colombia. We were in Nicaragua. They said, we should go to Colombia. We want to plant trees with schools there and see what we can do with our nonprofits. And we rented an Airbnb type of place, like with the community in the grassroots area. You know, we negotiated getting a house for a month in the jungle. And since he passed away, the other elders, they followed him around the world, writing down his different lectures that he would give as a channeling divine being on the planet, you know, spreading truth and wisdom. They followed him around and documented everything. So there were these essays and different documentations of these lectures that have all of this hidden structured data. So the elders there, as we were reconvening, trying to figure out the next steps for this small dying tribe, unfortunately, they said, we want to pass down some of these data from these hidden artifacts that we have, these knowledges. So come, we'll set up a room, and at 3:30 in the morning, I would go in and they would say, okay, you know, use the Palo Santo, do the thing, do all the stuff, clear the energy and prepare it for the elders to come and read to you.
Yeah.
So I did that for a week and a half every morning. 3:30 cleansing, 4:30 they started giving me the things. And for some reason, every time I was like, hey, may the elder brothers come and guide us. And I had no idea about elder brothers at the time. I didn't even know what that meant. Didn't know there could be anything like that. And after a week and a half, I woke up in the morning and there were 3 of our eldest grandmothers. They said, hey, there's a strange man outside. And we were in the jungle in the Colombian mountains. And it was a man in full regalia, in all white, with a white hat and bags and everything. And I had never seen someone like that. So they were a little frightened and a whole thing happened. So I had to go outside and talk to him and say, hey. He says, I think I'm here to meet you. I said, oh, I don't know about that. He says, yeah, I think we've been called here. Turns out they are a tribe of 4 tribes that are called the Elder Brothers. They live in those mountains. And he came down and said, I've been called to you. I think you're part of a prophecy. You need to come back with me. So very abridged.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, very abridged thing. And to pass it off to Kelsey Faith, at the end of that, they said, you can't bring your elders if you're going to come see if you're part of the prophecy. You have to come alone. I said, no way. I've lived with these people for a long time. I don't trust anybody, and they're my spiritual guides, right? He says, no, they're too negative. I said, what? They're the most positive people I know. He says, no, too negative. Wow. I said, so we had to negotiate, and he's blowing my mind and my heart at the same time. And I'm like, oh no, the people I'm learning from, this guy doesn't approve, blah, blah, blah. So for like a week and a half, we negotiated. Eventually we got to go down to a village, and this was 8 years ago. And they brought people, and since then it's been a continuous life journey of working with the leaders and living out this journey to understand, who I am and who we are and how we all connect and what's the elder brothers. And so 8 years ago it started.
Ah, man, this is why I love not to do the research beforehand, because it's so cool to learn about this live. So yeah, thank you for that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Profit. And Kelsey, how about you?
Yeah, for myself, I've been since very young, been on a journey of learning about the world through life experience. And so I never went down the traditional route of going to university or following what society wanted me to do. So I decided I was going to start traveling the planet by myself with a backpack.
Nice.
And so I, as a solo young woman, went off into the world, traveled to 5 different continents, just bopping around, learning from cultures, getting adopted by families all around the world, in Asia and Australia and Europe. And so that was my own personal journey. And in that, I had learned traditions of Indigenous cultures, and coming from the modern society, it was very intriguing to me. And so I really started just immersing myself with these other cultures and just wanting to learn from them. And so that was my own journey before getting connected. to Colombia and the tribes. I had eventually come back to the United States, I think during COVID time, and I had met Diam, who had this connection with the indigenous cultures, and to myself, when he had explained to me about these people that were living in the mountains, wearing all white, and I saw some pictures, everything in my entire being was like, you must go. I just received this inner, like this knowing that nothing else mattered, what I was doing in my life, and I must like leave everything and go and just surrender. And so that's what I told him. I said, hey, you know, like I gotta go see this for myself. Like, can we go? Can we go visit them? And so we planned together to go, and he had introduced me to the people he was connected with, and from there it was full surrender, and we were received. I was received into the mountain, and now it's been my life for the past 3 years. And we had already been on a journey of building Sun Nation, which we'll talk about more later. But yeah.
That's beautiful. What a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because we were doing a retreat, and so the Heart Coherence Collaborative, we hosted our first retreat, and we sent out an email to our email list, and we have a lot of people on there. And we asked, does anybody want to, you know, be a facilitator? And we had hundreds of applications. And there was this one lady who just had this amazing energy, and her resume wasn't really like the top, you know, but like for some reason her energy was. And so we connected with her, and she came out, and she just was talking all about the Mamos and how that time of her life inspired her so much. And she had this meditation that was so beautiful, and it was based off her time there. And I still was like, I'm in retreat planning mode. So it's like kind of coming in one ear out the other. And I get back home, and I have this message that, you know, the Mamos want to connect with you for an interview. And I kind of was like, oh, this is that thing Marta was talking about. So I just hopped into the interview and literally had no idea what was happening. So I was like, I'm wicked underprepared. But I'm like, something is cool here. But then life grabbed me, and I was so busy. And like after the fact, I started doing some research. I'm like, wow, whatever is happening is so cool. And I didn't even realize how cool it was while it was going on. So I'm like, dang, I wish I could go back in time and do that one over. But we're here, you know? And so I'd love to hear a little bit about the four elder brothers and just all of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredibly magical, as you have experienced.
It's all magic.
It really is. And I started as a very skeptical person based in science and business and technology. So I've spent every year with them under like as a very skeptical person. But I have this like system internally that I've crafted for myself, and it's like an acceptance column. And so I have the things that I've like tested and that I believe and that I know are true. And then no matter how crazy something is that someone says to me, I'll always just put it in my acceptance column. And I'll be like, maybe I'm wrong about everything in the universe, and this random person saying this random thing is right. And I'll let it sit there for a while to test, right? So I've been in these systems for a little bit with the specific four elder brothers from the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, which is on the Caribbean coast of Colombia. And there's 4 tribes there that are just working in supreme magic, super quantum, and they don't have too much contact with our people. So in the process of being skeptical and trying to learn, I was always like, what does magic mean? Like, are you guys doing magic? And they're like, we don't know what magic is. What are you talking about? It's like, no, this thing you're doing. They're like, what? I'm like, oh, you know how you're talking about like telepathy, and you know, they're like, what is that? Like, I said, well, when you do this and this, and like, oh, yeah, that's normal for us. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's normal for you. And I'm talking to children, right? Because I'm trying to find out the answers. And the children are like, no, I just asked my dad, because we're going to pick, you know, oranges from a tree. Well, they sent us to go pick them. We didn't know how many to get. I'm analytical. I'm like, hey, how many do we get, little kid? And the little kid's like, I don't know. We should ask my dad. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm standing there waiting for him to go ask his dad. And he's like, my dad says 9. And I'm like, okay. What? Did this just happen? So I had to break it down to him as a kid and not spook him to think he's doing something outside of the normal, right? So I'm like, oh, did you just hear your father's voice in your brain? You know? So the 4 elder brothers, there's the Arhuacos, the Kogi. A lot of people have heard about the Kogi through different documentaries. They've been the most vocal on they call us the little brothers, everyone outside of the zone. There's the Wiwa and the Kankuamo. And each one of them has a different white hat.
Nice.
Yeah, they're like, the Arhuacos have a very specific curve. They have a secret that the other tribes don't know how to do, don't know how to make this specific curve when you're crafting a helmet.
Interesting.
Right? And then the Kogis have a really cool one that's very fluid. They're known for a lot of relationships with water. And they have this like, it's like a rounded thing with like a little another rounded thing on top. It's kind of cute. It is. And then the Wiwa, I think they have one of them wears a cowboy hat.
Oh, okay.
So they don't make it, they have them, but they're all white hats. It's very interesting. Yeah. So the 4 elder brothers, those are them, and they live on the top of the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. They all practice the same cosmology and the same habits. So the tradition is programmed for them to all live in that reality. Mm-hmm. And then they all speak totally separate languages.
Wow.
No words are the same.
Interesting.
But they all practice the same thing and they know the same thing. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the part of the magic of the 4 elder brothers, and why for us as younger brothers, or it's a weird thing out from an outside lens. The United Nations calls what they have the patrimony of humanity, and it's called the ancient knowledge system. And somehow 4 completely different languages, they have the lens of the immaterial and how all of the energies work, how the structures work. They call it the law of origin. And through that lens, they're all able to talk about the exact same thing without even speaking the same language.
Wow.
Because their languages, they all receive the direct codes of the mountain. And so they're different interpretations of the same code that's coming from the mountain and from nature itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to hear a little bit more about the 4 tribes and like the size. Are they all the same size? And are they all the same in how they connect with spirit?
Yeah, that's a good question. Tail ending off of what she was saying too, there is an interesting aspect of embodiment of, so like the tribes, let's call them, they call them peoples or pueblo. And a tribe is led by the Mamos. And so, for instance, the Arhuacos, they have a little over 60,000 people now. They used to have a lot more. They're almost went extinct twice, once because of the Catholic Church, once because of Christopher Columbus. They've lived a very interesting life, and they're still alive. They have 40 years now on the upswing. So they've been multiplying their population as much as they can. So the Arhuacos have about 60,000. They're the people we work with the most. Okay. We're now working more with the Kogi and the Wiwa. The Kogi are the 2nd largest in the region. We don't know the exact numbers. The Wiwa are the 3rd largest, and the Kankuamo are nearly not there anymore. There's still Kankuamo descendants, but they lost their language. They've been the most, maybe like as the elder brothers kind of talk, maybe the weakest. And the 4 of them, they're all supposed to be this like shield for the planet. So they're a little bit upset that the Kankuamo lost their language, because that's where all the codes are, right? So there's the different sizes. In general, the 4 of them together have about, I think it's 250,000 people around. It's
hard to know exactly because they don't do the whole registry systems that we have in our systems. But
it's a good amount of people. It's about 250,000. And then there's another tribe that's neighboring them. They used to be the bodyguards. 500 years ago, they were the bodyguards for the original 4 tribes.
Oh, nice.
And they got violent when Christopher Columbus came. His whole people, they massacred, they brought the elders down, stole their gold, killed them all, enslaved them to build fortresses. It was like a total mess. And the 4 original peoples, that's what they call themselves, the 4 original peoples. They were just like, hey, cool, new friends from across the way. And it didn't work out so well. So the Waiyu is the 5th tribe, who is the bodyguards. And they used to play on the same level of embodiment, where these Mamos, who are the leaders of these 4 tribes, they're like literally Buddhas, but like literal.
The Mamos are.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they are, there's different versions of Mamos, just like a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Some are like new practitioners, some are like anciently amazing. So the Mamos, they become the leaders because they become the most embodied in the law of origin. And as she mentioned, the practice of being at one with nature. So that practice allows guidance to happen really easily because they're at harmony with their environment and they know how to interact with it, and that's their specialty. So they become the leader of the people around in their community. And so there's a Mamo in charge of each community for guiding that community. And then the community itself is like a collective, like a node of collective consciousness. And then the Mamo and the leaders, the Mamo has a team of leaders, and the Mamo like dishes out the orders of like, yo, the energy over there ain't so good. You need to do this and this. Go get these rocks, get these feathers. We're gonna do this stuff and make sure everybody does it. And then they harmonize the energy. So the leaders working with the Mamo, they talk to each different village. So there's a Mamo of each village. There's a hierarchical structure of governance. And then there's a high council, kind of like the people have been calling them Jedis, or like the Yoda type of people. They're legit, amazing, embodied people of the light and peace and positivity. You can like feel their aura. They're just, it's amazing. So those are the leaders.
What are they called?
Mamos.
So the people that are the leaders of the Mamos,
Oh.
the Jedis, do they have a specific name, or they're just?
Yeah, they have a group that used to exist the 500 years ago, before the pirates came, the conquistadors. And then now they've been reforming it just in the last couple of years. But even each language, since it's all different, they still have that word, and the word is Nikuma. Nikuma is the council of the highest like Jedi Mamos, who are the most embodied and connected to their temple. Because each Mamo, so you have Mamos that are in charge of villages. You also have Mamos that are in charge of temples. And those temples are basically just the infrastructure needed to take care of a sacred site. So certain Mamos are in charge of certain sacred sites. And then the hierarchy system is there's certain temples or sacred sites that are like omnipotent. Like they're like really thing. And then there's other sacred sites that are like in charge of the giraffes in Africa or something, right? So they say the heart of the world, every point on the mountain, since it's a giant mountain range with all 7 biomes, that all of the different mountains are connected to some point on the planet. And them as Mamos, they walk around for months and they go to all the points and they do the little harmonic experience and they talk to each other and they visit the temples and they visit the villages, and they're constantly figuring out how to like, and harmonize the energy. Yeah.
Now, how does like the High Council pass wisdom down? Like, what are they tuning into? And then how do they share that information? And does it make its way all the way down to you? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty complex. You guys, I'm sure, in your audience is big studiers of like consciousness and the quantum reality, right? So these specific tribes with the ancient knowledge system, there's groups of people in an international regenerative alliance that are teaming up to save the heart of the world and do the whole transition into new earth, and that these Mamos are the spiritual leaders of the ancient knowledge system. They know how to take care of the entire planet, and their cosmology is that their job is to teach outsiders the keys for taking care of the planet. And that's the ancient knowledge system, which the United Nations calls the patrimony of humanity. So supposedly, like everyone on the planet is supposed to inherit what these Mamos are guarding. And their job is to literally pass it down to others, right?
Nice.
That's the whole thing. But since, pirates and the church and the governments and all the stuff, and almost going extinct, their system is very fragile right now. And we're part of our company, Sun Nation, we have a whole section dedicated to cultural preservation. It's like the buzzword for like geopolitical stuff to get money to help preserve the culture. And the culture is like all these processes, right? Which are actually the processes that are keeping the patrimony of humanity. So to answer your question, the Mamos themselves, there's a hierarchy of like a metafractal system, right? And that metafractal system pairs perfectly with the law of origin, which is basically just the invisible structures around us. And these Mamos, as they get more attuned and embodied, they have the ability to just easily sense and read what they call immaterial, which is like what we call quantum, which we're now starting to understand. So now the president of Colombia has become good friends with some of these really high Mamos. And he's realizing, and they're realizing, and the whole world's realizing that the Mamos are actually quantum physicists, like legit.
Yeah.
But they're like embodied of the light quantum physicists who work on this invisible structure, which is a fractal meta structure of entire reality, right? Yeah. So they're embodied quantum physicists.
They're keepers of the codes.
Yeah, they call them codes.
And these codes they've received from being passed down, but also from tuning in.
Right. So back to that meta hierarchical system, you have certain Mamos who are called the supreme Mamos.
Yeah.
And their system, for instance, we'll just give one example of one of the highest temples. It's called Sekumake. And it's supposedly, it is a place that we have visited, that we go to. We're going to be there in 2 weeks to visit and talk about before the winter solstice. There's all kinds of things that they need to get updates on, and they like plasmar in Spanish, like using manifestational, imaginational, and then like quantum codes to seed true concepts and true things that will come to fruition. So they need people to come, and there's all these councils for a couple weeks, and they've been doing things for the last 3 or 4 months to get everything ready, to make sure all the codes for what we need to make sure the planet is in good health is going to happen. So there's this temple called Sekumake, and supposedly it's one of the 2 highest temples of the Arhuacos. And Sekumake is this area that the land itself is the temple that is the anchor point on the physical planet, where there's a tether, energetic tether, where like what they say is the immaterial world, which is like the external reflection of outside of physicality, plugs in to this one node point, this one sacred site.
Wow.
And so they protect that, right? So circling back to the hierarchical meta and how the things get transmitted, this temple, Sekumake, it's one of the highest temples. It's one of 2, and they have a supreme Mamo who's in charge of Sekumake. And he learned from his entire lineage of, like, the Mamos have a lot of children.
Yeah.
And it's it's a lot like the Dalai Lama. So different Mamos will have children, and then in their lineage, some of their children are selected to be Mamos, and some of them are really special. And so they have this whole system that they've been living for, we would say thousands of years, they would say millions of years, many years that they've been living, except for the last 500, not so well, passing it down in really long arcing lineages. So for instance, the supreme Mamo right now of Sekumake, I think I can say that in public. Yeah, well, we won't give out identities just for safety. But anyways, he's from a long lineage, and his sons are amazing, and so they're training under him. But he's maybe like 60, 70 years old. His sons are maybe 50, something like that. And so there's this system that has been functioning, but right now, less and less because of oppression and civilized systems and things like that. So it does get passed down through lineages. You do get selected as a person, like going to Hogwarts or whatever. But the schooling system it's really fragile and it's almost broken. So we're trying to work with their governments and these internal teams to really preserve the culture and make sure that more Mamos are able to exist and keep protecting these sacred sites.
That's beautiful. Now, how do you work with the Mamos and the whole four, the elder brothers?
Lots of different ways.
In lots of different ways, yes. So for the Mamos, there is somebody who is elected to be like the person who is responsible for communicating with like a foreign affairs person, you know, so they work with the outside world, outside of their culture. So the little brother people. So we work directly with that person who is basically like contracted with their culture to be able to communicate directly with the Mamos. And
So he has a little stick, a speaker's stick.
yeah, he's called the vocero, the speaker. So he has the ability to communicate directly from the Mamos and be the interpreter of their word, and then has the ability to communicate to us about that. And so we go through him, which then he communicates with the Mamos. in that
And
way.
then he's the official speaker for them. So he has to spend pretty much all of his time finding ways to travel to all the temples and talk with all the Mamos and keep like a collective consciousness understanding of what's happening. And then he goes and he has to have a directory of what sacred sites, what temples, what Mamos that he needs to seed ideas and hear from so that he can report out to the outside world.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he also, like, we don't work just with him, but he is the guy, right? So he takes us around to the temples and to the Mamos. And so we also deal with the Mamos directly, and they talk to us and we do works with them, and they, help us figure out what is supposed to happen. But officially, he is our like liaison, and then that's our interface with them. And we work directly with Nikuma.
Oh, wow. So the messages from the highest are coming through. And now what are they saying? Like, what type of, are they putting you on missions, or is it just?
Many missions.
Yeah, like they're really fun. It's amazing because it's so meta, It's like even in the practice in the moment, we're all doing the thing, and we're like learning and having and being and doing. So they're so conscious of that in the meta that they orchestrate moments, and we also have to be in the moments.
Yeah.
So we'll take them to the capital, and we'll figure out how to the Colombian capital, and we'll figure out how to like orchestrate meetings together, right? Wow. But in the meetings, they're all joking around. They're like, yeah, man, all this artificial stuff you guys built, like whatever. We'll show you the real technology up in the mountains. Like, hey, we need to write some laws. You guys have been doing some bad stuff with us for a long time, and we're tired of that. Yeah. And just like legit, they'll just be talking, having fun. There's the meta version of it is the missions also come out in that same play because they can see kind of like the future, but they see the future. Maybe some can.
They're amazing at strategy.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Because they're so meta and it's all the same, and they're not born in a lens from the artificial world. They literally can, like, let's for instance say that when you zoom really far out of what we would call the matrix or whatever, living in a city, call it that. Yeah. If you're born into that system, the only thing that you can ever imagine, unless you're connected to other sources, is what you've been in, right? So you can never actually, like Einstein said it, I think, where the problem can't be the solution. The same person.
Of conscience that created it. Yeah.
Right. So in that system, they're looking from the outside for, like, in Spanish it would be por siempre, which is like forever. They're just always able to look at us almost look down on us
Yeah.
because we're in this thing that's not real.
And they're looking at it from outside of it.
Yeah, because they're still in nature on the mountain, and they watch us like spinning in circles in our cars and killing each other and blowing things up and cutting down the forest.
Playing
So
with fire.
yeah, and so they say we're the fire people, which we are. Like some of us, each color, the 4 original peoples of the planet, each version of a being has Asian yellow people, black people, red people, and yellow people. Those are what they talk about. And it turns out that the white people, did I say that? There's white, red, black, and yellow. And the white people are the ones that have played with fire a lot because they're the fire people. Anyways, circling back to the meta-ness and the missions, it's really amazing because they'll, like for instance, when we first got contracted to work with them, we've been living a spiritual reality, right? You walk your path, things happen, synchronicity happens, all of a sudden you're in a thing, right? So they live like that all the time.
Right.
They don't have time, they don't have paper, they don't have money. They literally live in the quantum.
In the present moment.
In very multi-layered energetics and consciousness.
It's like the present moment with an understanding of everything and how that present moment comes to be.
And they're watching the energetic arcs. They're seeing the birds came in, and to my left ear there was a little bzzz. To my right ear there was, and they watch all that stuff and they train. They pass it down to their children and they say, "Hey, this is a rule. Hey, this is a rule. This is how the system works." Right? So when we first started, we were on a spiritual journey and we're like, "Hey, Kelsey Faith wants to meet you guys. I'm here with you guys. We want to start a company to help do things." And we started Sun Nation. And the first thing they did was like, "Okay, you can be our special foreign advisors because we've worked with you and we know that this is happening and these are the reasons and this is that. But to do that, you're going to have to take us on a mission. And you have to take us on a big trip for 1 week. You have to take us to the desert. You have to organize all the logistics. You have to transport our people and take care of us. If you can do that and it all works out, then you can be our special foreign advisors." So we had to we had to make a proposal. We had to get it funded. We had to do the itinerary and the logistics and do everything. And then finally, in the middle of the trip, we learned that we're in the most dangerous part of the entire country, where there's no laws, and there's 27 different private family gangs that run all the drugs from Venezuela to the planet. Yeah. And they're like, "Okay, don't worry. As long as you guys are with us, you're fine." So we had 2 cars. We had to switch. They had to come put 4 of their people with our people so we didn't get kidnapped. We had no idea, and that's their test. They're like, "Haha, are you guys strong enough? Don't worry, just trust us." And so many missions like that. And then now we've passed a lot of tests, even though they're, everything is one. Maybe not a test, but everything is an alignment, let's say, and an observable alignment to all that is. So in those observable alignments, now we've gotten more trusted by, that's why we're able to work with Nikuma. We continually have a certain amount of integrity that we embody in our decision-making processes and our protocols. And it pairs well with them, and they've been teaching us. So now our missions are more co-missions where they have something that they need to get done, and then they'll put it on our desk and they're like, "Okay, try to make it happen." And now we're in that process with a lot of different organizations coming in, a lot of people being called to the mountain, a lot of people feeling this transition happening.
Yeah, it's very fascinating because it's it called me somehow, and I'm now all of a sudden I'm Team Mamos, I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened to me, but it happened to me. So
That's amazing.
I would love to hear more about Sun Nation and the mission and what's going on right now for you guys.
Because we got a couple cool meta things all unfolding at once.
Beautiful.
So right now there's multiple missions unfolding.
With abundant support from the universe. It's all just aligning so amazingly. It's fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah, so they talk about that it's not actually us that receives, it's not coming from us. when we get the messages, like the mountain itself is sending out signals to different nodes around the planet and different energies around the planet in order to call the energy to the mountain for what the mountain needs. So it's like a remedy. So the mountain, as it's, as nature, there's disharmonies or there's sicknesses, and then there's also remedies within nature. And so the mountain is sending out these energetic codes across the planet, and us as representatives of nature are able to receive those messages and those codes because each one of us is carrying a remedy that can plug into how to heal this sickness. So right now, the mountain is sending out many signals all around the planet to many different people all around the planet. Just like the birds and the turtles from different countries around the planet go to the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta.
The heart of the world.
To the heart of the world to check in. They bring seeds, or they take seeds, or they come and lay their eggs, and then they go back out. Just
they always
like that.
come on a cycle at the same time every year, and they just come in to, get the signal according to the Mamos.
Nice.
Just like that, right now, there's like this condensing happening where something within the collective consciousness is waking up and starting to be resonant to understand what this calling is. And so many people now are hearing this message of, oh, Colombia, at the heart of the world, as well as ambassadors of peace with nature who are going around and spreading consciousness as nodes talking to other nodes and talking to networks. And so these networks all around the planet are learning about what this mission is. Because now the Mamos, after being in isolation for hundreds of years, where they've been hiding their knowledge to protect themselves, well, now within the past some years, they have realized that it is time to talk to the planet and tell the planet what is happening. And so now we have them saying, we're going to share this message and we want you to share this message. And so now, as that has been happening, as we have been welcomed in as foreign advisors to help explain what's happening in our little brother world. And many, many more people are finding out about this mission.
Yeah.
And so now these energies are being called to the mountain, and part of the mission that we have with the Mamos is to help organize that energy that's coming in. And so
Peace Village.
So yeah, there's many different levels of looking at this, at the projects, because it's very scalable. There's like the bottom, middle view, and then you have like the top view. Within the bioregional movement, it's like the ant view, the eagle view, and then the angel view. And you have to be able to work at all different levels to understand what's happening. So anyways, there's a really big story that's unfolding from the cosmic angel view. And from there, from that perspective, then at the eagle view, there's like executable missions and tasks that have to be enacted on. And then you have to be able to actually do the tangible work on the ant view, because we're humans and we're working in the physical while working in the spirit, but we actually have to make it happen in
The 3D.
in the 3D,
Right.
because we're physical matter,
Right.
So right now, with all of these messages happening and with the solstice arriving and all these different people,
A lot of people coming to the mountain right
a
now.
lot of people coming to the mountain. And so there's meetings that are happening where what we talked about earlier, where the Mamos are working to organize the energy and to harmonize the energy. And so now we have little brothers coming to the mountain, and then we have the elder brothers coming to the mountain. And so there's meetings to harmonize the energies and understand what's happening together, so that we can start to come together and
Prophetically, they have a prophecy.
prophetically, yes, to create harmony for what all this chaos on our planet is happening.
Yeah, they said 500 years ago when the conquistadors came, that there was a renowned Mamo, and many of the Mamos were, I think, all but 2 or something were executed. Wow, it was amazing. Very, very upsetting. And supposedly the last Mamo like pretended to be the last Mamo while 2 ran away, and the whole thing happened. And yeah, sorry, that's a big reality to just talk about real quick. But the prophecy is that this Mamo saw this from like a cosmic angel view and realized, okay, this energy that is the poison is also going to be the same energy that will be the cure at some point. And I think he said 500 years from now, which is this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And that this year, there are a lot of younger brothers and sisters coming into play. And so the internal Arhuaco prophecy, they are all on this timeline, which our people are bringing, like the eagle and condor prophecy, the rainbow prophecy, like different ones. And they're like, hey, well, we have our own internal prophecy and it's happening and you guys are part of that. So then cosmic angel view, people in our collective, heart-centered, light-minded people are all feeling this transformation happening and all getting called to it. And internally, the Arhuacos are like, yo, this is our prophecy. You guys don't know it. You guys are living on that prophecy, but apparently we have the same, like this is all the same, it's all converging, right? So on the 7th, there's an amazing peace benefit concert, Peace Village benefit concert over here in Sedona. So now we're living in that. This peace benefit concert is on the 7th. On the 8th, we're gonna fly out to Bogota, back to Colombia. And we're gonna get everything ready for getting the Peace Village people to be coming. So there's a group of people that are on their own spiritual journeys and their own path. So this Peace Village benefit concert, the donors, they're coming, they're flying in. We're gonna show them and introduce them to the leaders. We have this whole process that we've developed for impact investors and philanthropists to be able to get involved. And this is our first time where it's at this level. Kelsey Faith has made an amazing itinerary and planning systems and functionality and workflows to enable this all to happen. And we've used them in different cycles. And now we up-leveled again, and this cycle is happening. So back to your question of what is really present for us right now is this Peace Village. We're raising $650,000 to build this first village with the tribes and the people who are really aligned with somehow being there in the now, like it's their calling, right? So there's a regenerative movement happening all across the planet right now. There's experts from all kinds of different countries that are like attuned and tapped in, and they know the knowledge. And like Kelsey Faith said, she just surrendered, right? She's like, I know I have to go. So some people, that's happening for them. And certain ones are gonna land in this Peace Village. And then there's a mega project that's connected to, which is called Peace with Nature. And that is a project with the 4 original peoples and the Colombian government, and now 33 nations of the Caribbean Alliance are coming together to preserve the heart of the world. And they're gonna build 7+1 villages to go target the lowest density places, the red zones, the places that are drug smuggling, drug manufacturing, poisoning the areas with the banana farms and violence, militias. Somehow that all lives in the indigenous area. And the Mamos say, you know, like being so light focused, that obviously the darkness comes to where the light is too. So there's this whole, as she mentioned, chaos unfolding. And in that, we're working on these projects in the now, these missions. One of them in the micro ant view, this amazing peace village that we're getting donors for and building right now. And then this mega project with the governments to build more bigger villages for the tribes themselves.
That all sounds amazing. Now, is there an urgency to everything that's going on?
Ooh, she can answer that one better than me.
Because I thought I caught wind of maybe that there was something dire about everything that's happening that really is causing a need for this to be acted on, like right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is absolutely an emergency on our planet. And
time, a lot of, time.
yeah, a lot of, it's a big question.
It's
a big thing.
Time with it because I'm curious. I want people to know why they have to act now if they do, you know, it's important.
It is. Yeah, the Mamos are
Yeah,
so
well,
jovial.
So
It's hard to.
the Mamos have been, like I mentioned earlier, they've been in hiding for all of this time. The reason that they're not anymore is because there is no more time to be in hiding and not say anything. So, you know, this is a very fragile situation that we're in. And they would much rather not have to interface with our artificial systems and our broken systems, but the way that everything is going with how fast the destruction is happening is absolutely vital for life, that the Mamos are on top of the mountain, traveling around the planet even now, going to countries all around the planet, trying to tell as many people as they can that the time is now and we don't have any time left.
Well, we have 3 to 4 years, they say, which I think is now 3 years.
3 years to do these missions that are going to activate the energetics.
Yep. Yeah, they say that the transition can happen. It seems like, talking to our people on our side, there's a vast networks of elders and grid workers and conscious awakened and star seeds and different people who are plugged in to doing all of this, you know, reflected transitioning work that needs to be around the planet. They say if everybody's aligned and everybody's communicating and we're like all in it together, then we'll definitely be able to do it. The problem comes up with the governments. So their goal right now is the highest goal that they want to be able to have happen soon, is to have all of the country's governments listen to them for a strategy for regenerating, for saving the heart first. Because if that zone stops functioning, the whole planet's energetics, like the ley lines and all the stuff, are connected to it. But people don't know that yet. And so they've been trying, they thought they told us back in the 70s or 80s, the Kogis did something with the BBC. And, you know, them not knowing about our systems, they took the time, they made the documentary, they did the interview, and they're like, okay, cool, we told little brother. But nothing changed, and they didn't know that. So then they came back years later, BBC did, decades later, and the Mamos are like, you guys didn't do anything. We told you. And now we just like let it go. We thought you guys were gonna do it, and now we're even more screwed. So there's this energy that they really want the corporations and the governments to listen to them, to come up with this collective strategy of like how to use high impact, sustainable capital, and what kind of metrics are we going to run through the United Nations. And they participate in the United Nations meetings about the ecological systems now. They just started doing that. They're trying to infiltrate as fast as possible to give real solutions, because they have the solutions. It's not hard at all. It's just that our people are like they're born into the system that has no idea.
Our people are disconnected from how nature functions.
Exactly.
And they are connected to how nature functions.
Right.
And so what they are holding is the codes of nature, and that's what our people have forgotten. And so we, as little brother living in the artificial world, must learn how the natural systems and cycles work in order to harmonize the disharmonies that are happening within this whole system that we're operating in.
Right.
So what will it be that happens in 4 years?
Well, that's their indicator, right? So let's put it down to 3 because I don't think we have 4 anymore. But they've been watching the ice, and so the heart of the world is literally one unique mountain range on the coast of Colombia. Back then, borders didn't exist. It's just let's just think of the planet. This is the one. There's no other place on the planet like this, and it's just a really tall, amazing mountain with all kinds of mountains on it. So it's like a mountain range. And that place goes from the playa, the beach, and even the desert now. That's a cool side story. We'll have to do that side story one day. The desert shouldn't exist, but they did some magic. It was cool. Anyways, it goes from the beach all the way up through the jungles and then the forests and then the non-forests all the way up to the ice. And it used to be, according to them, a glacial peak, like legit glaciers. And it's always been like that because it has the shortest freshwater river from ice to the ocean.
The only place on the entire planet you can stand on the beach and see the Glacier Peak Mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in 3 years, apparently you're not going to see any white up there anymore because they've been watching it for the last 50 years and they've been seeing the speed of degradation of the ice, which is energetics, right? It's like, it's a certain vibration that makes what's coldness. And it's a certain vibration that makes heat. And so the vibration is off because of the energetics of what's happening on the planet, how the forests have been treated, it's not necessarily the fact that we have a lot of cars and trucks or that we kill a lot of cows. That is obviously a factor. But according to them, they might not have seen all of the bad stuff we do. But according to them, the biggest factor is the forests because the forests cool the air down. And then all the things that has to happen, according to them, the mountains create wind. Like the mountains are the nodes that do the immaterial energetics that we would call like geomagnetism and stuff. There's this system that's happening with all the minerals, which is why mining is destroying the nodes, different things. The minerals themselves, they're structured in this mountain in a way that literally just helps create the pressure systems because it changes the temperatures. So that creates wind. And then all you need, thanks to nature, is wind going through trees. And then there's transpiration, there's all these meta mechanics that happen that make the wind get more dense, the air get more dense and more cold because of the air, the water in the air and different things like that. Water being hydrogen and oxygen, all this stuff. So all of these different words that we use to try to identify these simple natural patterns is basically the air goes through the trees, goes up the mountain, gets cold enough to maintain ice. But now wind goes up mountain, not enough trees, air too hot, air melts ice. Very simple.
Deforestation, then you put cattle there, then once you cut the trees and then you put poison on the land, it makes the water stop going.
Yeah. So they say 3 years we won't have ice. And if the heart of the world loses its ice, they say to like a body, if you lose your heart.
Yeah.
So that's their meter. And they want to try to get us all informed fast enough or formed fast enough, or at least unified well enough to be able to create alternative mechanisms in this transitioning reality that we're going through, where we are, alchemizing energies, healing our timelines and our generational traumas, while also developing these new sovereign systems that are allowing us to live in harmony with nature. Because
it is possible to live in harmony with nature, and regeneration is possible. So there is
they've proved it.
There is a lot of hope. And
so they say we can definitely do it.
We can do it.
We can definitely do it.
We need capital and people.
We need capital, people, aligned energies, and coherence.
Coherence. Yes.
I would love to dive into that coherence. Because one of the things surrounding the Mamos is the word heart. I've heard a lot of people, Jumbalo in his book, he talks about it impacting his heart energy. So I'm curious, in your time with them, is there a certain essence of heart energy?
Mm-hmm.
Is that carried in their teachings at all?
Oh. Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a yes.
Being with them it's indescribable, really, like what it feels like to be surrounded by, when you're like one person surrounded by a whole group of them,
Collective.
when you have an entire collective that's living in coherence with each other, the amount of peace and tranquility and groundedness and just like
It's palpable.
it's a vibration, it's a feeling, it's purity.
Yeah, and orchestration too. It's not like they're just, peace-loving hippies.
Yes.
No offense, I love that, right? But they legit understand how to take cosmic angel view immaterial things and put them into the three-dimensional reality, because that's what it is to be a human. Like that's kind of what we got disconnected from. So it's just normal for them to be so embodied and also so practical. It's intensely cool.
Wow.
So coherence, from my side of things, version, they talk about the color green. And so we came in, my energy on my side of things, I love the sun.
Yeah.
I love the sun.
Nice.
And I love the sun so much that it got me to where I needed to be in the spiritual timeline of like embodiment, right? But if you only love the sun, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So I met them and they're like, yo, you're cool, but you're only the sun, bro. You need nature. You need water. Water is life. Sun makes life, but without the earth, you're done, right? So you're just spirit. And so I lived through this whole process of realizing like, oh my gosh, like, and they would teach me about the color yellow and what it is like compared to the color green. And, they use metaphors to speak to you. They're not gonna like break it down in the frequencies and say, though they do, but they break it down in story and parables and they literally guide you like biblically through knowledge and help you adjust your situation until you think green is amazing instead of yellow, right? And so they help me with that. And the green process, which is why nature is green, is the color of love, supposedly. And it seems pretty amazing that aspect is like coordinated, right? So they talk about nature being green, the health of things in nature showcasing green. The other signals in nature are different colors when, it's yellowing, it's got too much of this or that, it starts drying out, it becomes brown, there's different things, right? So green is like the basis of what the sun connects to. And the point being, as the different leaves and systems of nature are transforming this amazing invisible energy into usable reality through this green filtration system, right? This capturing system of greenness. The elder brothers were talking a lot to me about how I need to become more green. And then they would also relate that to love and the heart and being in the heart of the world and being with embodied hearts and how the heart has a heart. And so they're very hearty. They're extremely, pun intended, very connected to the heart. And that's literally like some of their missions. If you, last little tidbit on this, if you sit down with a group, right? And if you're super conscious and super present, you can just like merge in and see, and you'll feel out, you'll use your discernment to see how you're supposed to participate, right? And there's these moments of participation. And that is their excellency. They have trained their whole life, not everyone obviously, but a lot of them are living the true dream or the true reality. And they'll sit down at like gurus, no? And they'll sit down and they're like, and they'll find ways to just, drop the wisdom in and do the things and help and everything. And all of that is really grounded in the fact that they're in the heart of the world. The planet has a heart. You are nature. You have a heart. And they have an embodied version of what we would call unified theory. I think our unified theory kind of gets close to it, but they live this thing where they're just conscious of it since being babies, that they are their external reflection embodied, right? So their internal and their physical is a mirrored reflection of the earth.
Wow.
And it's just normal for them. That's just normal. And that's what we're trying to get to, a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
So in that, it gets so meta where they're lending themselves to this. They say, I am not a person. This is a vessel. I have awakened, or I am whatever they are, right? Embodied. And my vessel is attuned to the mountains, as she was saying earlier. And my vessel, please forget that I am an ego. I don't have an ego. These people, they don't. They are the messengers and translators, interpreters, they say, for the mountains themselves. And so they follow their little nodes and doop, doop, doop. Oh, I should sit here. Oh, I should say these things. Oh, I should help them gain more consciousness. Oh, I should do this and this. And they're always relating back to the heart because their job, their cosmology, everything they stand for, they say millions of years, which still makes me feel like strange. But their literal teachings to every single child that they've ever had is that their job is to wait in the heart of the world until the external reflections show up for the teachings in the patriarchy of humanity. And it's all about the heart for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I just have to add that they are so strong for what they're going through. They've been facing colonization for the past 500 years. Yeah. And they've been in actual war for 500 years. Yeah. This year is the 500th year that Santa Marta, the oldest city of South America where the conquistadors landed, this is the year of that. And they, like for us, it's like in our history books, you know?
Spain celebrated. They said, wow, 500 years for Santa Marta.
For them, they have been trying to hold on to the codes because they're the keepers of the codes. And I just have to give them so much recognition and gratitude for the amount of strength that they're carrying. And yes, they are hardy beings. They are so strong and so dense in their bodies because of all, like they are in this life as well, and they have gone through a lot of trauma. Wow. And they are still holding on because they know that it's the absolute truth of nature and that of what we must do. So they have held the strength together through community, through each other, through being in the collective, through their families, and through their connection to spirit, which is grounded in physical reality, through their culture, through their identity, through what they relate with, through their arts that they're holding on. Like they used to work with certain metals and crystals and golds, and all of that got taken from them. All of it got stolen. And the bags are the last thing that they have to represent who they truly are as a message of their embodiment of peace with nature.
Yeah, these are vibrational codes. So it's very easy to talk about how great they are, and it's really difficult to hold on to how dire the situation is. It's like a supreme crisis, right? Yeah. The schooling systems of our system, right? You have to have a pencil to go to school. You probably should have shoes. You need a couple notebooks, right? So when a kid grows up on the reservation, we can relate to that in the United States. It's very visible. They don't have money, they don't have things, but they want to go to the school. And then they go to a school and they get influenced by the people there. And then all of a sudden, well, maybe they want to buy a pen or they want a better something. All of a sudden they need a backpack, right? So money becomes something very fast. And it also is like, ooh, shiny. So the children growing up are like, oh, shiny. And so inside the tribes, as she's explaining, it's very difficult to hold on to everything. And out of the 60,000 people, they tell us that there's about 2,000 people in the Arhuacos that are still living the supreme traditional reality to hold on to all these codes. And like what I want to talk about is the good stuff because it's so fun. But they're legit ready to say they're going to try their hardest for 3 years. And they're like, if you guys don't pass, the planet's going to blow up, and that's okay. We're going to try our hardest. So hopefully you guys understand and you try with us. Kind of, that's their energy. Yeah. But you only get that when you really tune in with them. Otherwise, they're like, they're like having so much fun because they're embodied.
So joyful and
so
embodying
joyful.
peace, which is like, from our perspective, it's like, how
can you do that?
How are you still embodying this much peace and tranquility when your children are starving and when your backyard is being burned by the farmer who's pouring poison on it to plant coffee?
Who stole it from you? It's like, oh my gosh.
But yet they're still like living in joy and peace and in love.
Yeah, and in love, because they really live on that energetic understanding of energy and what's actually happening. So bringing that back in, the cool part about these codes that I really want to share is they told us thousands of years ago, their people was way bigger. Yeah. And they would go around what used to be called Grand Colombias, the whole northern like half of the South America. Yeah. And they used to be global also, they say. And you can see their hats and the things they carry. It's like in the pyramids and different hieroglyphs and different things around the planet. You see these things, same things that they have. And they talk about a time when they are the people who built the pyramids. And we're like, wait, what? It's like, well, no, we build pyramids. I'm like, oh, okay, well, and they go to see, we took them to Mexico to see some pyramids, and they said, oh, no, those aren't pyramids. No, we build better pyramids than those. And I said, really? And they're like, yeah, it's not, it's just, that's why they have this little thing in their hat. They're very pristinely endowed with architectural reality, and they're very good at creating things like that. So they talk about the fact that they know how to do that. At least it's passed down to that they did do that. Yeah. And the only place that they can save that kind of knowledge now is in the the codes that they put on the bags, because they used to just do it openly, but then they started getting hunted and enslaved to, carve perfect rocks, take perfect rocks, build wall for us. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But then quickly they're like, oh, we're enslaved. Wait, what is happening? Oh, you're killing us. This isn't good. Yeah. So then all of that had to stop, and they got all their things taken. So they stopped working with gold because they didn't want to get hunted anymore. They stopped working with everything except they're hiding, what they know in this, and they call it a living document. Because that's why they have tradition, right? So for us, tradition kind of lame sometimes. You're like, whatever. But their tradition is literally habits and routines that all have purpose and meaning, which allows each vessel to maintain the vibration of that embodied awareness, because they're continually embodying it. Yeah. So that's like, it's really important that they keep creating. It's part of a cultural identity. It's part of a collective. It's a thing.
So can anybody get these bags, or do you have to go out to Colombia?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of terrible. There's sorry. She feels a lot about it, and it's like totally so felt. There's like a lot of things to feel, and we were just kind of continually bringing up some of the worst things because, the bags, for instance, they don't have money. So some of the people, the women, they make the bags, and it used to just be a thing that they would keep for their people. Yeah. Then it became a thing that they would trade. Because what they actually do, if they're doing the bag the right way in their tradition, is the woman is weaving this all the time. Anytime they have a moment, they're constantly weaving. They have a needle, they have their sheep, that they have their own things, and they do this. And they get this from the sheep that they are like a collective with, right? Yeah. So they do this in contemplation, in meditation, in a way that is not contemplation, in projection of through meditation. They are making a peace prayer for everything.
Living prayer.
A living prayer for everything. They're embodying, in their collective, in their field, in their area. How are they seeing it better? What's going to be better? In the planetary level, on the galactic level, putting out love and light and finding ways to really call in, what are the solutions? And they're envisioning those solutions and projecting this whole beautiful reality out while they're in peace and they're feeling it and they're embodied, and that's whenever they have a free moment. They're cooking, they're taking care of the animals, they're taking care of the family.
Carrying their baby on their head.
While walking, they're doing this, like a whole thing. So that's like the real thing, is that this bag is supposed to contain the quantum embodied material energetics of someone's literal divine entity,
And thoughts.
divinely putting the energy and putting, and cotton, or well, this is wool, they also use cotton. This itself, they say, on a even a material physics level, that it absorbs the vibrational like imprint of the stuff, right? That's why it's like a thing. So normally this bag is, which this one is, that one is, they are these quantum portals, they're living prayers, they affect people, see them, the energy radiates, and they pass these out to people, they give them as gifts for certain occasions and certain reasons. But over time, it has changed. In the middle of their reservation, really crazy story, we'll make it really short, back in World War II, Nazis. When were the Nazis?
World War II.
Perfect. World War II, Nazis left, had to leave, some went to Argentina, some went to Chile or whatever. Some went in the middle of this reservation in Colombia. And I think it was one dude, and he invited more of his Nazi friends. Poor thing, but whole thing happened, and they built this town.
Wow.
The town started, illegal peasants came in, and then they created an illegal title system. Over years of corruption and illegality, the illegal titles became legal titles, right? So then now it's a municipality, and even though it's an illegal city in an illegal location, it's technically a Colombian governed city now. It has a police force, it has a military. So it's a whole thing. And the tribe lives around that area. Even the 4 tribes, they all live around areas that are now touristic. So putting the story short, it's best if people want these bags to actually go through approved channels that work, which many people say they do and they don't. It's really sad. So it's best to try to work directly with the governments, with our alliance that, go straight to them. But basically, long story short, what happened now is in the towns, you'll see tons of these bags because instead of doing the living prayer, some woman's children are in school.
Yeah.
And the children want some notebooks, and the teachers make it mandatory to buy certain things to be in school. So they're like, oh, well, I'll make one and I'll sell one. Oh, I'll make one and I'll sell one. So then that was the way, keeping it short, that was the way that all the economy happened for them for some years, decades. But now Colombians, no offense to them, just like, business people,
sure.
They're like, oh yeah, cool. Well, you need some money right now? I'll buy these from you for a price. And so then now they buy in bulk and they put them in their stores for the tourists to buy.
Got it.
And now the indigenous get paid the least amount possible. They have to sell it for survival. It doesn't usually carry the magic and the codes and the consciousness. And then it just looks like it does. And so it's this whole thing.
Do you have an approved channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody listens and wants one, we'll put the info below where they can find a way to grab one. Is that cool?
Yeah, they can reach out and contact us, and we're setting up. Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got asked to go to Colombia in March, which I'm contemplating, which is really cool. I'm curious, what does a trip out to Colombia look like? And then also, how can anyone, I know you said you need people.
Yeah.
How can anybody listening get involved?
Ooh.
I'd say right now, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that as we're organizing with the leaders and preparing for that, because right now, in the formation of all of the infrastructure being built, that is being built to receive people, but we're in a very fragile process at the moment where it has to be very specific and very intentional. And so the systems right now aren't really allowing for a huge influx of people wanting to come in. It has to be very organized and oriented in those processes. It is possible to organize that, absolutely, and that's where we're going. And that's what's being asked, is for people to come and visit. So gatherings can be organized and we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah, and there's a couple parts to that where right now we've been developing something. There's as I mentioned before, a regenerative movement, and now there's all these regenerative economic models that instead of being sustainable or extractive, it's actually benefiting nature. So we've been working with them to do something that was like regenerative tourism, even though it's not anything near tourism. It's just like, that's the idea. You would come, you would have an immersion.
It's immersive education.
Yep. And like spiritual ethno kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we do have that also. And there are ways right now to, if like, as she's saying, definitely feel within oneself, see what your calling is, what you are wishing for, how you want to interact. Their leaders are literally running around the planet and within the heart of the world trying to prevent chaos and crisis. So there's not that much time to like really meet with certain levels of leadership, which is why we're building out these different ways to get involved. But one of them definitely is this immersive trip, and we have a system that allows like a collective of people, like a cohort of people, and we're starting to organize that, maybe one in March also, which is kind of cool that you said that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that system's coming on board. So anyone listening who definitely feels that they want to experience and see, get in contact with us. A trip, it's actually nice, depending on where you're at in the world. But you fly into Colombia, into the capital of Bogota.
Yeah.
And then it's just a 1.5 hour flight to this other town called Valledupar. And from there, it's a couple hours in driving up into the area where you would have the immersion in the reservation. And there we orchestrate with a village, and then we bring leaders and different mamos and things happening so that people can, there's a couple different opportunities that they're organizing. They're trying to tell us like, hey, bring your people, but bring the people who are going to help. But not the people who think they're going to help, the people who are ready to help. And that's different, right? And so we're like, okay, how do we do that? How do we filter the right people? And they're like, well, just make sure it costs something so that they're energetically putting something already, and make them also know that if they're interested in coming to, they do something called an energetic work where you work with cotton and you clean your energy. And you can also clean other people's energies. Nice. And they guide you through that. They guide a group through that to clean your own like universe, quantumly, basically. And also they're telling us like, hey, what can we offer? What do your people need? What do we want? How do we make this transition happen better? And it's being discerned out that people are starting to want to come to surrender themselves to the mountain kind of thing, and ask the interpreters, the Mamos, yo, what's my mission? Why am I here? What should I do? What's my talent? How should I use my skills? Things like that, who are people who are really feeling that they're part of this. So there's different experiences to be had with the leaders and the Mamos and the communities, and different levels of engagement, and even some immersive and workshop type of things that are coming, that are able to be, brought up.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say to you both, anytime you ever want to come back on and share any sort of message, any activation, anything we need to know, you have an open pass to come on anytime. And so I would love to just know if you have any message in closing to anyone listening that you want to just share on behalf of the Mamos.
For me, I feel like the highest impact that we could have in this moment is to invite everyone listening to share, to really press the share button, to really, do the thing and send it out to someone that they think might resonate, or even just to hear about it, about their existence, about the heart of the world. It's really, really important that people feel that and even know that it exists. So on a quantum level, there's consciousness and shift and change. So yeah, for me, it seems that the best thing would be to please, if you resonate with this, definitely put a comment. We'll be able to look into the comments and see and contact us, do the whole thing. And we will help organize however you feel that you can get involved, whatever you have to offer, whether that's skills or advisory or capital or whatever the things are. The highest thing is to be able to contribute something and at least sharing the message so more people have hope.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Yes, what came through for me is that the Mamos talk about how we as little brother love to run and how we love to go super fast. And so I would like to bring the invitation and awareness with all of this knowledge that this is a very fragile situation of what is unfolding, and to sit with what is being received and to deeply feel it without needing to act upon it, or I want to do this, I want to do that, but just feel it and let it land, because things have to work in a certain way. And there is chaos energy that is in the midst of needing to be harmonized. And the last thing we want to do is bring more of that energy by sharing this message. We don't want to bring more of the poison. And so, as one wise man often says, is we must move at the velocity of the butterfly.
Ooh, I love that. Wow. Well, thank you both so much for the amazing work you're doing. Thank you for meeting me today. This has been awesome, and I'm here to support the mission. So I look forward to continuing this friendship. And everybody listening, I encourage you to, do what they said. Leave a comment, share this, and however you want to be involved, let us know. So thank you both.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. We love you.